Today, AdAsia is talking to Jason Kuperman, who oversees the digital arm of the Omnicom Group in Asia Pacific. He will be presenting at the 2011 AdTech event in Singapore. Jason, you studied architecture. In fact, you got your master's in this subject. What led you away from architecture and took you into advertising?
When I was an architect, I worked a lot on libraries, and I was working on a project in the University of New Zealand at the Otago campus. And we presented our ideas to the librarians there, and they actually were unimpressed. And they said to us that we were designing a library like it was a place to store books, as opposed to share and distribute knowledge. And they said we have this new thing called the internet, and it's revolutionizing what we do as librarians. And it just really sort of woke me up to what was happening in the world and how technology was impacting communications and knowledge sharing and information. And I just slowly got sort of sucked into that world, and eventually left architecture, started my own website, and then found my way into an ad agency helping them grow their digital division in Los Angeles.
Your role in Omnicom is promoting digital media. Are most of your clients now embracing this platform?
Yeah, I think almost everyone is embracing it. It's a pretty big spectrum that I think ranges from people who find that digital and digital media is really core to their business. So if you're a bank, for instance, I think that's an easy example. The actual business of banking is more and more having to do with internet and digital media, and therefore they have a really good understanding of how digital marketing and advertising fits into what they do. On the other hand, you have clients where digital is really just another part of their advertising mix. So I think it really ranges depending on the role digital media plays in their business, how much they are sophisticated or involved or investing in digital media itself. The other thing I would say to that point also is probably really ranges about target audiences and the shopping process, right? So if you are an automotive client, for instance, it's a high consideration purchase. There's a lot of research that goes in before someone buys a car. Therefore, the internet plays a role in the shopping process where people are doing research, and therefore it makes sense for them to be advertising online in order to connect with those consumers.
Are you as excited as the mobile industry is about the future of mobile advertising?
I am extremely excited about mobile as a platform for brands. When I think about mobile advertising, and I think the way that many people look at advertising on the web, I am not as excited, because I think that the format of mobile really requires us to rethink how we're using the tool to connect brands and people. But when you look at the numbers of people that have mobile devices, when you look at the characteristics of a mobile device as far as when it's with someone and the opportunities to communicate with them in a store, wherever, you can't help but be extremely excited, especially in a region like Asia, where you have huge groups of people who will probably use mobile as their only and first and only connection to the internet. So I think it's a really exciting prospect. It's just a matter of figuring out what's the right format for engagement and connection on the mobile device.
I've heard that some people say that the advertising agencies are not really up to speed with mobile. I don't want to put you on the spot, but what do you think about this?
I think it really ranges. I think that when mobile plan and strategy comes together, and what will make the most sense to reach the most amount of people is doing an SMS campaign, no matter how strategically correct that is, I think that it's understandable why creative agencies may not be as excited about the opportunity. I think that there are certainly opportunities within really good, concise copywriting, but when you think about actually doing something that's interactive, which is really a big promise of the digital medium, and certainly something that excites creatives, there are some limitations placed in the mobile format, which I think dissuade creative agencies from getting really excited about it. But that being said, there are things like iAds, which are extremely engaging, really creative, big creative opportunities with motion and sound. The dilemma there is when you are doing an iAd, the platform of people that you're reaching are certainly different from a reach standpoint than the people you would be reaching with SMS. So I wouldn't just generically say that, overall, I wouldn't just generalize and say creative agencies aren't up to speed with mobile. I just think that their level of excitement about the platform really ranges when you look at the creative possibilities that they have to use the medium.
Which of the Omnicom offices, in your opinion, are doing the best work in this area?
It's an interesting question. I think digital is so big and so broad of a category. So you have groups like the PR agencies that are doing some really amazing stuff with social media. You have our media agencies that are doing really, really innovative stuff from a platform standpoint in the search area. And we have the creative agencies that I think are really shifting the way their clients are thinking about the internet and their business. I wouldn't really single one out as doing a great job. Because or a better job than any of the others. Because in general, we have a very important corporate mandate that comes from our global CEO, John Red Down, that digital's the air that we breathe. It really needs to be our oxygen. Whether you're a digital specialist unit that does nothing but digital, or you're a general advertising agency, or a shopper marketing company, or a PR agency, digital is transforming the way our industry works and the consumers we're trying to reach. So you have to be doing digital.
Is there anything at the moment that is particularly exciting you about the mobile industry? What does the future hold for us?
There are a lot of things that are going on that I actually find really exciting. Mobile is really one of them, as we talked about, because of the possibilities of connecting with so many people. And because it hasn't really been figured out yet as far as what the format is. When you look at sort of online display, there's some really interesting things going on in what I would describe sort of back of house. So you're looking at exchange platforms and demand side platforms that are really changing the way targeting and delivery of display advertising is done. And I think that's really exciting from one perspective. But the format and the engagement style of display advertising has settled. And so I think it's a part of the industry where the change is maybe exciting from a industry standpoint, but from a real engagement standpoint, it seems like it's sort of found its niche, But mobile I find particularly interesting because that hasn't been figured out yet. And everything that we do is really another attempt, another experiment at trying to find that sweet spot of creating the format for mobile advertising that's going to be really successful. So that's one area that I find really particularly exciting.